And in today's episode, I am really excited to introduce you to Danielle Keasling. Yes, that's a German last name, even though spelled in the American way now. She is a globally recognized celebrity hairstylist, beauty industry leader, and award-winning entrepreneur. As the global artistic director. See, the tongue twister is already happening. You guys know that means it's going to be a freaking amazing episode when I have tongue twisters within the first 5 seconds. As the global artistic director, there we go, of Matrix and the first pro US ambassador for Dyson. Girl, I hear you. She has shaped hair trends in some of the world's biggest stages, including high-profile events like the Super Bowl with Lady Gaga. Known for innovative techniques and mentorship, Danielle is also a sought-after consultant for salon and spa businesses, empowering beauty professionals to grow their brands. Her passion for education extends to online courses and one-on-one coaching, where she continues to inspire the next generation of beauty professionals worldwide. Girl! That's all I have right now. Girl!
Aww. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. I'm so passionate about entrepreneurship and like just empowering people, empowering women, and like mindset as everything.
And as all my listeners know, we'll definitely dive deep into the mindset. Now, question. You already talked about empowering, helping women. Have you always been that way? Have you always been the one stepping up, making things more beautiful, helping people be more beautiful? Or was little Danielle just completely off somewhere else and then something happened that got you into that direction? What did little Danielle think when she was little, what she's going to be growing up?
Yeah, I didn't really think. I grew up in a really privileged family. Not like privileged in the fact that they had money from their parents. They just worked really hard and made a really nice life. So like I didn't struggle. I really didn't have to think too much. Like I just was a kid. I played. I went to school. So thankfully, I got to a point in high school where I think my parents had different expectations. My dad had an expectation of me being a struggling college student, not by thought, but by habit, right? Like that's how he did his life. So that was what was taught to him. And, if you don't go to college and you don't struggle and you don't become a doctor, lawyer, professor, like you're not going to make it, which obviously we all know is not the case. And my mom was like a hippie, a groomed hippie that was beautiful. She was a flight attendant. She like knew how to work a room, but really had, God, I hope she doesn't listen to this podcast, like no business mindset. Like, she just like knew how to like make people
and
happy.
I don't think we all really need to have a business mindset. There's something to be said about when somebody knows, you know what, I'm a 9-to-5, even if 9 to 5 as a flight attendant is a different 9 to 5, where it's like,
yeah,
I don't want to take
9 to 5
risk.
was a lot of fun. Let me just put it that way.
Right? It's like my head is off to everybody that knows exactly. You know what? Everybody now talks about the hustle mentality, and you're only somebody if you're an entrepreneur. And I'm like, no,
you don't have.
There's people that just don't. It's not their personality. They don't want to do it.
No.
And that's a strength to me, where it's like, hell yeah,
yeah,
that's not yours, and you found yours.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
100%. And I think that like the where I came from, or the why I got to where I am at, is because my dad had been married, and I grew up with like half siblings that we didn't really, none of us connected. And so I was my parents' only child, and like we all have a childhood trauma that some of us like actually like deal with, and some of us don't even know we have it, right? And like I look back at my childhood and I'm like, nothing happened. Like they were great parents, everything was great. Like, but you do have things that like make you who you are as a human being, no matter if you think it's negative or positive. Like it is what it is, right? And a lot of what I've unraveled in my adulthood now is the fact that I never felt good enough. So oddly, that was my coping mechanism of like making my success, was just to keep succeeding, to make sure that I like didn't fail, to make sure that I was perfect at everything I did. And I mean, to like what end games, right? Because now at 45 or almost 45, I'm like, okay, I'm just learning how to be a human being, you know, because before it was like, I had to be good. I'm only 5'2". I was on the varsity volleyball. I always think, I always equate it to that. I'm like, how the hell was I on varsity volleyball when I was a sophomore? You know, I just didn't fail at anything. Like, and that is one of the things that has been really great for when you get into business. But I have that mindset, and I think that that's the mindset. Do I look back at like when I was 13 and being all like cute and bougie in front of a camera and posing? Like, did I think I was going to be doing what I do now? No, I knew I was going to be whatever I wanted to be. I just didn't know what that was. So.
Yeah, and that's like, I'm in there with you. It's like, that's the beauty of the question, because you never know which story is gonna come out. And some of the most amazing stories have come out where some of my guests were like, oh, I've never shared that story, which is one of the reasons why I love it so much. And I'm curious, you called yourself, you tend to overachieve, to really push, to get, how is it for you? Because now I'm reflecting over here, right? Overachiever myself here too. Similar age range. And there's been some lessons recently where my view has a little bit changed on the overachiever, because on my personal level, I saw how that impacted. I'm curious about you. Having accomplished so much. So yes, on one hand, it's been an amazing personality trait that got you where you are today. How are you looking at that piece of overachieving nowadays? Because sometimes that also can lead to burnout or just not feeling enough, because we feel like we constantly have to one-up ourselves.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, my whole mindset has changed. I would say in the last softly 2 years, it was probably, I think COVID opened up a lot of eyes to a lot of people. I really cannot tell you, I can't even put it into perspective, the amount of travel and work and no balance that I used to do to just try to prove that I could do it. And what I mean by that is like traveling internationally, working 18 to 20 hours a day, not sleeping, getting up because I had to work out even though I didn't sleep. Like, what a waste of time, right? Like, your body is just like, I don't even know what I'm doing right now. So, like, I'm not going to do anything for you. But, like, I didn't realize any of that. Everything was just very much, like, mechanical, robotic, just, like, grind. And that whole, like, COVID set, like, I had the worst time at the beginning. Like I was like coming unglued. I didn't know what to do with myself. I never had a moment. I mean, yes, did I get married? Did I go through all the motions of life? Yes. Did I have any type of like sustainability? Absolutely not. I mean, like, I look back on it now and I'm like, no wonder I had no, like, I mean, like, really, like raw and vulnerable and honest. I didn't have a life. I had no life outside of work. Like, I skipped holidays because with an excuse of like, this is my only time I can be alone. And like, who wants to be alone on the holidays? But like, I like literally would like skip holidays with family because I was just like, I cannot even wrap my head around going and being social right now. This is the only time that I have downtime. So there's so many things that I look back on and I'm like, gosh, I wish I would have known what I know now, because my life would and I don't think I care if it's different. I think that it's just a reflection. Like, you have to like look at all the inventory and go, you know what? I made choices and like, this is what happened from that. And would I change it? I don't know. I don't know if I would. I'm really in a really good place right now and really content and happy, but it's interesting. It's like, you just have to like put your big girl panties on and like own up to it and go, you know what? Like, this is what it is, and this is the hand of cards that I'm dealt with now, and like, what do I want the rest of my life to be like? And you know, balance for me now is everything. Like, I still work like a dog, but man, I am the first person to like juggle the hours of the day and go to the beach at 2:00 and take a walk.
So I know a lot of women in my community often struggle when that shift happens, where it's like, okay, I'm not living to work. I'm supposed to be working to live. When that shift happens, when we realize that for whatever external reason, we suddenly became overachievers, and it's like, okay, I actually want to live life. Now, I know a lot, me included, we often have that little one sitting on the shoulder, but you are supposed to be working.
Yeah, you almost have guilt when you don't, right?
How are you working with that? I'm like, it's an ongoing process for me. I'm getting better at it, but it's still where the voice is like, but you were supposed to be working 24/7.
Yeah.
What are your tricks what do you do to work with that,
routine,
to work around it, to reframe it, to just approach it differently now?
I had to develop a strong routine because I have the same thing. I still have it. Like, but I have such a strong routine that those little voices will still pop up, but I'm like, it's just not in the routine.
It's like, this is the plan, it's on the calendar.
Yeah. And I actually have to, okay, so this is a great example, and this is so silly. I was actually thinking about this yesterday because my business partner she's all into this, like, she called it time blocking now, and I'm getting it. I'm like, I understand, okay, but coming from like a creative background, I'm like, time blocking, oh my god, like, I can't do like meetings all like, but okay. So I go to yoga when I am in town. I go to a 9:00 yoga class pretty much pretty much every day of the week, and I know personally that I'm going, but if I don't now, it has to be on my calendar. And I am such a perfectionist that if I don't really want to go to that particular, like, you would just say like, most people would just put reoccurring yoga session 9 to 10, 15, right? I cannot do that. I have to do it as I book it. Like, I book it, I put it on my calendar. I book it, I put it on my calendar. Cause I'm like, sometimes I have to like go do an errand at that time, or I have to do a call. So I'm not going to yoga. So I'm not going to put it on a reoccurring pattern. So I think like the sanity for those little voices for me has been to just make sure everything literally is on my calendar. And, you know, like, I'm not perfect. I take I call my to-do list now a today list, and I keep moving over the to-do list to today, and whatever doesn't get on the today list just goes back to the to-do list, and it's like this big now, like it's like a freaking Bible. But like, you're human. We can only there's 24 hours in every day. Unfortunately, no one has figured out how to make 26 hours out of 24. And for us, like, overachievers and entrepreneurs and like all of the things that we are, like, you just have to like get to the point where you're like, I am a human being. Like, I'm okay. Like, the fact that like I've looked at my couch for 2 years before I laid on it, like, and like the day I laid on it was like, I'm like, I can't believe I'm sitting on my couch. This is really weird. It's very uncomfortable. And my friend was like, what are you talking about? It's your couch. I'm like, yeah, but I don't use it. Like, that's like, I don't sit in my living room. Like, I'm either like in my office or I'm in bed. Wrong. Don't live like that. Life is too short. It's so short. And like, I think too, the fact that I lost my father when he was 61 years old, and he worked his entire life to like retire. And he was given a year or two after.
Was he the kind where it's like, I'm gonna work really hard so I can enjoy my retirement?
Yes. It was all like, I heard that over and over and over. My childhood was just like all about retiring, all about working hard to retire, to buy the boat, to live on the golf course, to like, you know, go vacation, go wherever you want. It was all about what I was gonna do after I retired, you know? And then I watched him retire, and then he moved down here in South Carolina. That's why I'm here. It's like a random place for me to be. And he got bit by a poisonous spider. So some random tragic freaking act. And he got a staph infection and passed away in a year and a half. And otherwise completely healthy.
Never really got to actually enjoy the retirement he had been working for his whole life.
No. So like, that's where yes, I work hard. Yes, I like travel. I do all of these crazy things, but I live. Like, I drive the car I want. I buy what I want. I go where I want. I eat what I want. Like, I don't live paycheck to paycheck. I'm very grateful. I'm very blessed. I've like worked really hard to make sure that I am financially completely stable. But like, if I could give one piece of advice to somebody, it would be like, live every day like it's your last. Like, you don't have to be extreme. You don't have to go jumping from planes. You don't have to go, but like, just be happy. Live. Like,
and I think that's a really good reminder for all of us passionate entrepreneurs, because it's like, I at least came into this being passionate about it, wanting to make a change. I love doing my business. It's like, I really don't have a problem working morning to night when I'm building something, when I'm creating something, when I'm creating impact and all the things. And my partner literally is regularly, have you actually left the house today? Have you actually? I'm like, I'm comfortable here and I'm working on a project that fuels me. But then I get into the circle of, I love what I do, but I don't fill up my cup with all the other things that I love doing. And I get into the circle of, suddenly I don't like anymore what I'm doing. So I love that reminder of, just live today, even if it's something small, where it's like, go out and meet a girlfriend for drinks. I'm that introverted extrovert. I'm happy on my couch. I'm happy to have a drink by myself. but it's also refueling, going out, having new experience, doing new things.
Yeah. You have to push yourself out of the box or you're going to burn out, because I'm the same. I'm crazy passionate about what I do. I love what I do. I love new projects. I love being challenged. I love growing businesses. I love doing marketing and working in the hair business. But like, when I got to a point of burnout, I hated it. And I didn't hate it. I didn't hate what I was doing. I just hated the demand that I was putting myself in, and this like terrible mindset that I was putting myself in. And it's like, when you're a perfectionist, it's a really dangerous area, because it's like you're your worst enemy. Like at that point, when you hit that brink, there's no going back. Like no one can tell you to chill out. No one can talk you off the ledge. Basically, you're just like, fuck off. Like at that point, like, you know, and like, you just can't, like it, and you just have to like realize that in order to sustain the level of like what you want to do, like what you physically naturally are attracted to and what you want to accomplish, you have to have some kind of self-care and like fill your cup back up, or it's just going to not work. It just physically is impossible.
And I think it's also, it is an advantage for us and our business too, because when we do the same thing over and over again, and we are not going out and we are not doing different things and new things, we become stagnant. I'm like, where creativity happens in the new, in the different, where suddenly you make connections you haven't made before, where it's like, oh my God, never thought about it this way, never looked at it this way. How does that happen? By us changing a perspective. How do we change a perspective? Get out of the goddamn house.
Yeah, 110%. Like 110%. And that's actually very, very much the reason that I started like even podcasting and doing things outside of my industry, and started speaking on stages outside of like, you know, I'm known in the hair industry. I'm, you know, like I've already done what I can probably accomplish in the hair industry. So I was like, I gotta do something else, because like, not that I don't love my industry, but it's just like, you know, when you've won the Oscar for a movie, like how many more movies do you really want to do, because you won an Oscar for it? So it's like, don't go down on a sinking ship. Just like take the Oscar and run.
And I think, I'm like, when I look at my industries, where it's like the coaching, the consulting, the social media marketing, if I don't step out of those industries, it's like I see the same thing over and over again, where now suddenly I'm like, I end up being an imposter syndrome, where it's like, yeah, but everybody would know that. And the moment I actually step out of my general closest niche, I'm like, no, I was just expert blind. It's like, it's to me like, yeah, how can somebody not know that? And I just brush it off. And I step into another industry that is not that much everyday exposed to it, where it's like, you're what?
Yeah.
You do what? How?
Yeah, that's a good,
and it's just
good
it's
term.
just so much fun to just. I love chatting about perception, right? Because that's what's happened, and I'm in it. I see the same stories, news, and education over and over again in that specific niche.
Yeah.
And suddenly I step out, and it's like, Gary, who?
Yeah. Yeah.
Jeff, who?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which woman? Who is she? Who is he? Where it's now suddenly it's like, oh yeah, because I'm in it. They have no clue, and it's just the adjustment of perception, and as well as there's where I look at certain people as mentors and VIPs where I'm like, oh my God, I wish I would get to meet them.
Yeah.
And suddenly they get taken off of that pedestal. And I'm like, they're also just human.
Yeah.
You might feel like everybody knows them, but not everybody knows them. And it just completely changes the perspective.
It's interesting. Yeah. Like, you're right. I like the way you just said. How did you phrase that? Expert, you get expert.
Expert blindness.
Blindness. Oh, that's a good, like, analogy, because I feel that a lot, and I've never actually been able to put my thumb on it, but I like that, the way you say that, because that is very true. Like, we get so comfortable in our industries that we don't even realize sometimes, like, what we've actually done and what other impact we could have on other people. And I think I get challenged with that a lot with my business partner, because we're branching outside of the beauty industry, and she starts listening to my stories, and like, we're redoing all our websites, and she's like, and and then you can just like hit this person up and do this and do that. And I'm like, who do you think I am? But like, at the end of the day, I could. But like, I just like stay in my like lane, where she is coming into it like completely like not an expert in my field, and she's been able to push me outside of like my comfort zone, even to like be like, she's like, why can't you? And I'm like,
I love that. Why can't you? Why can't you? And that's where, when we are so passionate about something, it just becomes second nature.
Yeah.
Where it's like, again, expert blindness to me is the best phrase kind of to explain it, where the knowledge we have, the creativity we have, the capabilities we have might feel like nothing special.
You're 100%.
Till you get pulled out of that expert blindness,
Yeah.
and somebody is like, but why don't you?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, and now I'm starting to go, like, we're doing all these different websites because we have so many different brands, and I'm like, but that's not. And she's like, yeah, it is. Like, it is. Like, you are that. You're just because you don't have, like, you haven't worked for, like, Coca-Cola yet. Or, well, actually, I have. So I shouldn't even say that. That was a bad analogy. But, like, she's just, like, throwing, and I'm like, okay. And she's like, you're probably more, like, credible than, like, most people out there doing this. She's like, you like look at these people that are branding people, marketing people, coaching people, mentoring people. And she's like, you actually have done all the hard work. You just aren't giving yourself the credit.
Here's the checklist. Here's the receipts. Girl, you have done it. Sounds like you have found yourself the perfect yin to your yang. It sounds like it's a perfect partnership in business. And with that, where can my audience find you? Where can people go look up all the things you are doing and building right now?
Yeah, so my social media handles are my name, so Danielle.Keasling. We are launching our new website, which is going to be DanielleKeasling.com. It looks so good. I just reviewed it today. Very high-end luxury. Super excited. That should be launching next week. And then I have my own coaching and mentoring program it's really like, on the surface it looks for just like beauty professionals, but it's really for anyone in business. It's Hair Biz and Beyond, and that's why we named it Beyond, because I've done chiropractic companies, I've worked with med spas. It's all coaching and consulting for business. And then we just started another Million Miles, which is our blog lifestyle community, and that all developed because I just wanted to, there's so many people out there with no credibility that is giving major advice to people, and I was like, I need to do something outside my box, but that like actually matters. So We started another Million Miles because I'm like, why not? Like I talk beauty, hair, health, wellness, like lifestyle, all of this all day long, every day. Why do we not have a brand behind this? So yeah, we have a lot of different channels, a lot of different projects, but it's so good. Life is.
We're gonna make it really easy. My audience already knows all of the links and everything is right in the description, wherever they're housed, wherever you found the episode. So, guys, as always, make sure you have hit that follow button so you don't miss out on the next episode. And Danielle, thanks so much for joining me today. As always, so much fun hanging out with other female leaders and get to know you better, get to look behind the curtain and just how you do business.
Yeah,
I love
absolutely.
it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.